Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. So, if you know my channel, besides being a classic rock fanatic, musicologist, I'm also a big movie person, especially horror movies and science fiction to a lesser extent. And I buy and watch Laserdiscs. And for me, it's just a lot of fun. So, if you know my channel, I don't know, many months ago, 4 months ago or so, I bought a lot of 2 boxes, cratefuls of Laserdiscs, about 400 movies. And what I've been doing is I just basically whack-a-mole. I go in there blind and I pick one out and watch him. And I got 26 Laserdisc movies that I've watched over the last 2 months. Thought you might be interested in seeing the ones that I've watched over the last 2 months. Just a tiny fraction out of the 400 that I bought. And I already have about 400 down there that I've already watched. And I might do some more Laserdisc videos like on my Criterion collection and things like that. Anyway, in no particular order, these are the 26 Laserdisc movies that I've watched over the last 2 months. Different genres, some great, some good, some not so good. But that's the fun of it, just doing it at random. This was a good find, and this is one of my all-time favorite science fiction movies from back in the day. Logan's Run. This is the letterbox edition, and I saw this when I was a kid, and it always stuck with me. I loved this movie, and this is the gatefold of it, and I watched it again. Michael York, and of course Farrah Fawcett, and Peter Ustinov, and Jenny Agutter when she was young before she was in American Werewolf in London. I still think this movie is really great, and I loved it. So Logan's Run, that was a great one to watch. This was a cool one. I never saw this one, but I had heard of it for sure. The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, which starred a very young, oh my God, Jodie Foster. I had to think of her name for a second. Jodie Foster was the star of this. She's very young. Also has Martin Sheen in it, and he plays like a really creepy role, like almost like a child molester kind of a guy. Anyway, this is a really cool movie. If you never saw The Little Girl Who Lives Down a Lane, it's a kind of a suspenseful thriller horror movie. Jodie Foster is excellent in it. It's a really cool movie, and I liked it a lot. This was a fun one. Gotta love it just for the title. Hell Comes to Frogtown. You gotta love these like exploitation type movies. This one starred Roddy Rowdy Piper, the legendary wrestler from back in the day. And he is not the world's greatest actor in this movie. He was also in that other movie, From Beyond, I think it was. No, They Live. That's the one with the glasses. But this was kind of a fun movie. If you like those post-apocalyptic kind of movies, it actually was not bad for an exploitation movie. This was a good one. This was Cat People. And this was actually the remake, which was nice. Looked like the original, and I have the original on Criterion. This is the one that had Natasha Kinski and Malcolm McDowell and John Hurt, actually, and Annette O'Toole. This was a good cast and very different than the original, and I definitely enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of Malcolm McDowell. And then I saw Free Jack. I remember seeing this when it came out and not particularly liking it when it came out, and I watched it again, and it was pretty much god-awful. I got to tell you something. The weakest part of this movie, definitely, unfortunately, was Mick Jagger. He is just really not... It was not casted well. He is just doesn't fit that role that he plays at all, like a bounty hunter. He's just not a good acting job for Mick Jagger in this movie. Emilio Estevez and Anthony Hopkins, as you can see, also in the movie, but not a particularly good flick. That's for sure. Some of the effects were good. I did luck out with another Criterion. I already had this on Criterion. It's a different edition of it. Taxi Driver. What can you say? One of the greatest movies of all time, and it's still really held up. I mean, Robert De Niro is amazing in this. Jodie Foster is in it again, and of course Martin Scorsese. Doesn't get much better than Taxi Driver. That was a nice version from Criterion. This was another one, Stepfather 2, Make Room for Daddy, and the original Stepfather I thought was a great movie in its time. This one, unfortunately, didn't particularly care for it. Not awful. Meg Foster, she got those like her eyes are like cat's eyes in real life. I don't know. But, nah, wasn't overly thrilled with that movie. Nor was I that thrilled with this one, Anthony Perkins' Psycho 4: The Beginning. I have all three Psycho movies before this on Laserdisc, so this is the fourth, and it was just okay. Not great. This was Mickey Rourke, and there's a bunch of Mickey Rourke movies in the purchases I got. And again, Anthony Hopkins in a movie called Desperate Hours. And, Mimi Rogers was in this, and Kelly Lynch. Good cast. It was okay. Nothing great. This was a cool one. Drugstore Cowboy. Remember Matt Dillon? He was a great star. I was a big fan. And also Kelly Lynch, another movie with her. And this was a cool movie. Pretty heavy movie. Drugs and the dark side of life. And I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie. I'd seen this once back in the day, but it was a long time ago. Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, and Kevin Bacon in Flatliners. And interesting concept, and I actually thought it was pretty decent. Held up okay. And yeah, I definitely kind of enjoyed it. This was a cool thriller, and this was called The Good Son. And Macaulay Culkin stars in it. And I got to tell you something, he is one hell of an actor in this movie, because he scared me, man. This is a horror movie that is like scary, because it was just so lifelike. He's just an evil, evil kid. Elijah Wood plays a good kid in this who had some tragedy. And this is a really good movie. I got to tell you, if you've never seen The Good Son, definitely recommend it. He will scare you, Macaulay Culkin. I thought this was pretty decent, actually. An Innocent Man starring Tom Selleck. And a story of a guy who's an innocent man who actually has got to go to jail and in a prison and from crooked cops, and it was pretty decent. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, An Innocent Man. And then another Matt Dillon movie. This was called A Kiss Before Dying with Sean Young. And I just thought that was okay. 2 thumbs up, it says, from Siskel and Ebert. But I would give it barely a thumbs up. Max von Sydow was in there as well. And then we got Nicole Kidman and Bill Pullman, Alec Baldwin in Malice. And this was pretty good. Another thriller that they would call a sexy thriller. And I thought it was pretty good. Not great, but it was good. This one was not so good. They said it was a comedy. I didn't really find it to be a comedy. Great cast. You got Michael Keaton, Glenn Close, Marissa Tomei, Randy Quaid, and Robert Duvall in The Paper. And they call it a comedy. To me, I didn't really find it to be a comedy. It's basically behind the scenes at, like a tabloid paper, like the New York Daily News or the New York Post, I guess, and then the guy's got an opportunity to go to like a real paper like the Times. But it was pretty good. I thought it was a little unrealistic. Not that I was in that industry, though. This one was a bit much, but kind of entertaining for a pseudo-exploitation kind of movie. The Principal, starring James Belushi, Louis Scott Jr., and Ray Dawn Chong. And a little over the top, where he becomes the principal, James Belushi, of the worst school, or a really bad school, but it does become a little over the top, but it was fun. Julia Roberts was Sleeping with the Enemy, and this was a pretty famous movie in its time, and I saw it back in the day, pulled it out and watched it again, and it was pretty good. I've never been the biggest Julia Roberts fan, to be honest with you, but I thought that was a pretty good thriller. And talk about kind of like exploitation movies. This one, I actually, in its own way, kind of enjoyed. This is The Further Adventures of Tennessee Buck. Look at that cover. You're only going to see this on Laserdisc. Headhunters, cannibals, killers, and If He Survives, Love. And this had David Keith. He's a good actor, I thought. He holds this movie up pretty well. Also kind of like not a post-apocalyptic, but kind of like that feel, on an island, they got to survive. And I don't know who Kathy Shower is, but she was beautiful in this movie, so that helped. All right. classic from David Lynch, although, be honest with you, I didn't love it. And I had seen it back in the day and hadn't seen it since. Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern in David Lynch's Wild at Heart, really famous movie. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't love it this time. I thought Laura Dern was kind of over the top and a bit on the annoying side. But that was me. But an erotic thriller was good. This one I did not really enjoy. And I'm a fan of Donald Sutherland and Tim Matheson as well. But this was a thing called Quicksand No Escape. And first of all, the movie title is real bad. And when I was watching it, this had to be like a TV movie. I don't know. I didn't look it up. But I think this is the movie. They had a scene where they go to a strip club and all the women had tops on. I don't know what kind of strip club that is. So I'm thinking this was a TV movie. Don't rush out to see that. Didn't care for it. This one was awesome. And I saw this back in the day. This is a classic. Midnight Express. And boy, I thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie again. This is a harrowing movie. And Brad Davis is just fantastic in it. This movie's just chock full of great scenes. Bo Hopkins, how Randy Quaid's in a Turkish prison, John Hurt. This is a classic, and it really held up well. So that was great. And this one we actually watched last night. My Life as a Dog. And this was a Swedish movie, I think it was. It's subtitled, which I love because my hearing's not the best anymore. And this is just a really cool foreign movie about this young kid and what he's got to go through in life because his mom is sick, his father is gone, his mom eventually passes away, and his journeys with these other people in these cool, funky Swedish village and back home with his mother and his brother and his dog. And I love this dialogue where throughout the whole movie he's comparing that as bad as he has it, well, it could be a lot worse. It could be like that Russian dog they sent in space without any food and starved to death, circling the earth. So, really cool movie. My Life as a Dog. Liked it a lot. And I'm wearing a NASA hat because this was a really cool documentary for all mankind produced by NASA. And this was a documentary about the Apollo space missions. And I gotta say that it was just great, man. This is dated, obviously. Now you watch pictures of Mars like you're on Mars, but it was still really cool. And the highlight for me is, I always wondered, like, you see Neil Armstrong typically just go on the moon and jump off one small step, but they show, like, they spent 3 days jumping around and driving around the moon, and they show some good footage of it. And you're like, man, they just look like they're having so much fun up there. And last but not least, two more. This was one called Cyborg 2. And pretty good effects in it. And, about the future. Cyborgs are like half people, half animatronic kind of a thing. But the cool thing about this was I'm watching this movie, and you don't see her on the title. And I'm like, she looks like a young Angelina Jolie. And it was a young Angelina Jolie. I don't even think she's in the credits here. Is she in the credits? Oh, there she is. She is listed in the credits. But this is before she was a star. I'm watching the whole movie thinking, she looks like Angelina Jolie, and it was. With that said, it was not a great movie. And last but not least, another classic science fiction movie. And this is a story from Michael Crichton, one of his early ones, The Andromeda Strain, a Robert Wise movie. And a classic sci-fi movie, and I had seen it also back in the day, and it was nice to watch it again. Totally enjoyed it. So 26 Laserdiscs in about 2 months, and let's see, I'll load some of these up here. Let's see, can we see them? Let's do that. Let's load some up, create a little background. Why not? We'll end the movie this way. How far can we go? Let's see. Can we go that way? I can fit one more. And why not? Let's go like that. So why do I watch Laserdiscs? So I have streaming. I have Hulu, and I have, my son has Prime. And I don't know if you do this. So sometimes me and my wife are like, we should watch a movie. And what you do is you surf on those channels and there's so much to choose from. It's like insane. And I wind up searching for an hour, and at the end of the time, I haven't even watched anything because it's like I give up. I'm like, I can't find anything. There's too much to choose from. So it's kind of fun for me just to kind of choose, just at random, kind of choose a movie. And, all different genres, and some of them are great, and some of them are not great, and some of them are, but, it's just kind of fun. So there you have it, folks. A whole bunch of Laserdiscs that I watched, and I thought maybe you'd get a kick out of it. And this is what I call another haul from backlog to catalog. All of this stuff now goes from the backlog into the catalog, and my ever-growing collection of Laserdiscs that I watch. So, hope you had a good day today. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you're new. I do have a whole playlist for Laserdiscs and movies, so if you like that, check those out. Otherwise, as always, thanks so much. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time with my Dawn of the Dead shirt on. See you later.